was on a pontoon with a group of people. This is what they have been told from some of the people that they've been talking with. But just they're not sure what point she got off the boat. They don't know where she went because no one knows.
It has been all hands on deck since Wednesday when 19-year-old Marly Kinney was last seen. She's now been missing more than 72 hours after disappearing from the lake Wednesday afternoon when she was on a boat. Authorities are trying to figure out and determine. They've had to put pause on that. WSAZ's Charlie Roth is live tonight with why they're pausing and just keeping us updated as we learn more.
We have a tragic situation where a young lady went on a boating trip with a bunch of her friends and some sort of way ends up missing. And I guess some of the testimony is not adding up. Some of the statements aren't adding up. Some people have questions, and there has been an arrest, and the person who's arrested was actually out there trying to help. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, and what we do here is we take a look at any true crime cases, especially missing individuals or fugitives who are on the run, because I was once a fugitive from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, lived in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. And now what I'm doing is I'm using my knowledge and everything experience that I've gained while I was doing what I was doing to actually help find people who need to be caught, have done some horrific things to family members, or to try and find missing individuals, because I know what it takes to vanish. Well, right now what we're going to talk about is Marly Kinney. Marly Kinney is missing out of Ashland, Kentucky. Now, this case is strange, all right? And we're going to get into the details in the timeline of the events. Plus, there was an arrest, all right? But the arrest is very odd, and some people are wondering why he even got arrested in the first place. Well, Marly Kinney, she went on a boating trip with some of her friends out of in Kentucky. And I don't even know if people went boating in Kentucky. I really don't know, because I only been to Kentucky one time. So this is the first time I even heard of that. Well, I live here in Florida. But she was on a boating event, or, you know, with some friends, I guess in a lake in Kentucky. All right. And she went to use the bathroom, her and a few other individuals. And apparently everybody got back on the boat except for her. And allegedly, some sort of way they took off without her, and she's been missing ever since. But here is the thing. What I've been reading, there's a lot of statements that the friends' statements aren't adding up, timelines aren't adding up, plus some of the individuals who might have been on the boat, okay, compared to the person who actually even got arrested. Now, right now, they're still searching for her. As far as I know, they have not found her yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some articles so we can try and piece together these timelines and what people are saying.
Yeah, Kimberly and Susan, officials here are pulling back, they're bringing back their boats, and they're pausing their efforts. They're packing up just for a pause, they say, as they continue to search for 19-year-old Marly Kinney, who was disappeared here at Lake Grayson Wednesday afternoon. Again.
All right, so let's take a look at this right here. It says missing Marly Kinney. Marly Kinney, a 19-year-old from Ashland, Kentucky, was reported missing after disappearing from a Puton boat outing on Grayson Lake on June 24th. And today is June 28th, so 4 days ago. Authorities launched a large-scale search by water, air, and shoreline while investigators worked to reconstruct her final confirmed movements, interview those who were aboard the boat. So that right now they're out searching any ways they can, okay? And of course, they've been interviewing people, trying to get surveillance of people. Now, there is a person who was not a part of, I should say, their crew or their friends, who ended up taking a picture of them, and I guess some video footage. And this person says their timeline is not adding up. We're going to get to that, okay? So right here it says victim, Marly Kinney, age 19, out of Ashland, Kentucky, all right? Now, Marly Kinney spends the afternoon on Grayson Lake aboard a Puton boat with a group reported to include at least 10 friends. Authorities have not publicly released the identities of these aboard or the exact route that was traveled by the vessel. Now, 2:20 p.m., according to witnesses, Marley's group remained at the rocks cliff for an additional 10 to 20 minutes. Now, they were on like a cliff, and I guess like a cliff where you can jump off and jump in the water. So an additional witnesses saw them and actually took pictures of them on this cliff. Now, 2:20 p.m., video was recorded. Based on those observations, witnesses believe Marley was still at the rock cliff area between 2:30 p.m. and 2:40 p.m. Now, according to witnesses, Marley's group remained at the rock cliffs for an additional 10 to 20 minutes after the 2:20 p.m. So I guess that would make it 2:30, 2:40-ish. Video was recorded based on those observations. The witnesses believe Marley was still at the rock cliff area between approximately 2:30 and 2:40. Okay. Kentucky Fish and Wildlife identifies approximately 4 p.m. as Marley's last confirmed sighting. She is 5'5", weight 125 pounds, hair is black, last known clothing, pink, orange, and white bikini. Accounts provided publicly indicated Marley separated from the group shortly before disappearing. She reportedly entered the water from the Puton boat. Now, this is when I guess the boat stopped and a few people were getting off to go use the bathroom. She reportedly exited the boat near shore to use the bathroom. The remaining passengers reportedly continued boating before realizing she was no longer with them. Authorities have not publicly confirmed which account is accurate, nor have they established whether Marley was ever reached shore or re-entered the boat. Now, timeline gap. Investigators continue working to determine the exact location of the Puton boat, because where they got off the boat to use the bathroom, nobody knows for sure where this happened at, which a lot of people are like, what do you mean? There was allegedly, now I don't know this for a fact, okay, but allegedly it was more than 10 people on this boat or something, and nobody can say, hey, this is where they got off to use the bathroom. Not even the people who got off with her to use the bathroom. It doesn't make sense. It says the precise time Marley separated from the group, whether anyone directly observed her final movements. Now, these are gaps. These are questions they need. How long elapsed before anyone realized she was even missing? Whether she entered the water voluntarily, whether she successfully reached land. After discovering Marley could not be located, authorities are notified. According to the arrest citation, it says Puton operator Cameron B. Cooley informed staff at the Grayson Lake Marina that he was unable to locate a female passenger who had been aboard his vessel. This prompted notification of Kentucky State Police in the launch of emergency search. Now, so the police arrested this guy, Cameron Conley, all right? Now, what they're saying is he could not locate the female passenger who was aboard his vessel. This gets strange. There is more to this, which I'm going to tell you guys, that is not being shown in the articles, all right? Now it says Kentucky State Police encountered Cameron P. Conley. According to citation, troopers detected the odor of alcohol. Troopers observed bloodshot and glassy eyes. Conley admits consuming alcohol beverages. He voluntarily submits to a preliminary breath test. He is arrested for operating a boat while under the influence. The citation states that he blew a 0.135. Okay. Now, as of right now, search operations, they begin immediately searching by boat, air, drones, canine, anything that they can do. Okay. Search operations expand. This is the second day. Officials continue searching open water, glove, shoreline. So second day, they're still searching, right? And still, they don't know where this woman is at, which is crazy. Okay. Now here, what we like to do is we like to read different articles, different reports. Some of them will have more information. Some of them will have conflict information. Okay. So this one says, this is from a Facebook post called Crime with Bobby. Marly Kinney's sister shares additional details as search continues. As the search for 19-year-old Marly Kinney enters another day, her sister has shared more about the day Marley disappeared. She said Marley had been spending the day on Grayson Lake with a group of friends. According to her, several people got off the boat to use the bathroom. So once again, that's what I'm telling you. Several people got off the boat. Now, in the other article, it doesn't tell you that, right? It just tells you she got off the boat. So several people got off the boat. Now, several, we don't know how many is several. Okay. Several is usually more than two, but we don't know if it's 3, 4, 5. When they got back on, they began driving away before realizing Marley was no longer with the group. Her sister said they immediately circled back to the area where they believed they had last seen Marley, called out for her, and asked her nearby boaters if they had seen her before she was reported missing around 4 p.m. She believes Marley had been missing since around 3 p.m. The family has also shared a photo of Marley taking a day along with what she was wearing in hopes it may help. As investigations continue, please avoid sharing rumors or unverified information as fact. Marley's family is asking for prayers, support, and accurate information while the search continues. So, like I said, right now, there is not a lot of information. So let's go to this article, okay? And it says boat driver arrested as new details include boat driving away without Kentucky teen. Cameron Conley of Ashland, Kentucky man was arrested on DUI charges operating pontoon boat under the influence as Marly Kinney's sister gives new updates on missing sister after party boat leaves Grayson Lake. And new updates surrounding the search for missing 19-year-old old Kentucky teen last seen with friends on a pontoon boat before vanishing. Authorities have arrested the boat's driver on DUI charges, along with missing girl's sister sharing new revelations. Marly Kinney was last seen on Wednesday, approximately 4 p.m. on June 24th, while partying with at least 10 friends aboard a pontoon boat. So right here, it does say with 10 friends. Investigators say Kinney reportedly entered the water to use the restroom, but her friends did not immediately realize she was missing. Now, see here, once again, it doesn't say others entered. It just says her. Right? So like, which one is it? Is it her or is it other people? And this is why there's information gaps. Now, they will later tell authorities the exact location on the lake where she had gone overboard. Oh, I'm sorry. They were later unable to tell authorities. So they were actually unable. So like I said before, they couldn't tell her and they said overboard. Get this right here. Look, where has she gone overboard? Where has she gone overboard? So some people are saying she fell off. It's very weird. Then you have, according to police, Conley went to Grayson, this is the person who got arrested, Lake Marina, and reported that he was unable to locate a female friend who had been a passenger on the boat. That report prompted an immediate search for Marley. When troopers arrived, they say the nose Conley smelled of alcohol, had glassy bloodshot eyes, and admitted to drinking. And then that's when he blew to 0.135. Conley was arrested Wednesday evening and booked in the Carter County Detention Center before being released on his own recognition. He is scheduled to appear in court for arraignment on July 22nd. Now it says boat began driving away before they were realized that Marley was no longer with the group. Kinney's sister, Willow Van Hoe, several people had gotten off the boat to use the bathroom. When they got back on, they began driving away before realizing Marley was no longer with the group. So the sister's the one saying most people or more than one got off the boat, not just she went overboard. Willow said they immediately circled back to the area where they believed they had last seen Marley, calling out for her and asking nearby boaters if they had seen her before reporting her missing around 4 p.m. The sibling believes Marley had been missing since around 3 p.m. Investigators have not said whether alcohol played a role in Marley's disappearance, and it remains unclear whether Marley had consumed alcohol before she went missing. Authorities from multiple agencies continue to search for Marley, both in the lake and on surrounding trails. They are using K9 teams, drones with thermal detectors in hopes of locating her. Now, I don't know if this is true, but what I have been reading from what people's posters saying that was there is that the guy who was arrested, allegedly this guy was not the person driving the boat. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. This is what other people are saying. They're saying this guy wasn't even the one driving the boat. They're saying this guy, I guess, allegedly was driving his own boat and then found out she was missing and then went out looking for her. And while he was out looking for her, he's the one that called and reported her missing. So if this is true, my first question is, why is he the one that had to make the call that she was missing if he was not even on the boat? Why did not anybody of those 10 people, I guess, on the boat, the original 10 people, why didn't they call anybody? Authorities, police, whatever it is. Why this guy from the outside? Not only that, if he had to call and report her missing, that means he knew who she was and knew her name. So did he know who she was beforehand? Or did he happen to come by and they're like, oh, our friend's missing. Well, what's your friend's name? You know, and that's how he got the information. So there's a lot of things that we don't know that I'm very curious about. And this also, there's a lot of questions. And first of all, if there's so many people, why the friends left her in the first place? If several people got off the boat to use the bathroom, nobody realized she came back on the boat. It was everybody that drunk. Then some people are saying she fell overboard and then nobody realized where they got off to use the bathroom. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. Now, right here, I'm going to show you this right here. All right. So one guy says, or one post says, same thing I read. In my opinion, this man should not have been charged. Reason I say that, he is the only man out of the whole group that risked getting himself in trouble to try and find this young lady. Let him go at this point. He is the only one I went back to look for this young lady, then ends up getting arrested for driving under the influence. So the comment under that reads, Cameron and I took my boat Thursday to show where the incident happened. Search and rescue was in the wrong location. After hours of searching, they still found nothing. All 10 were at Bruin Dock yesterday, combing woods and shoreline. Terrible tragedy for Marley's friends and family. Now, this post is saying there's no foul play, but they are saying that this person and Cameron went back to search. Now, let me read you this one, okay? It says, this is Cameron Colony, who was charged with boating under the influence, okay? Then it goes on to tell you that he's a 23-year-old out of Ashland, who was charged with boating under the influence after reporting a 19-year-old passenger was missing from a Puton boat, okay? Now, we know the details of what he blew and, you know, things like that. But here's where it gets a little suspicious, all right? So let me scroll down to this. It says, officials said members of the group have been unable to provide investigators with an exact location or time where Kinney was last seen, making search efforts more challenging. Preliminary reports indicate Kinney may have exited the boat to use the restroom. Now it says may have, before the vessel departed the area. Authorities are continuing to investigate that information and have not confirmed it as fact. Investigators believe those aboard the boat did not realize Kinney had not returned until after they had already left the location where she was reportedly dropped off. Authorities continue to establish a complete timeline of the day's events. A woman identified as Lee Ross said she and her family were boating near Kinney and her group on the afternoon of June 24th. Ross said both groups stopped near a popular cliff jumping area, commonly referred to locals as Sex Rock. According to Ross, time-stamped videos recorded by her family show Kinney and several members of her group jumping from the rocks at approximately 2:20 p.m. Ross said the group remained in the area for another 10 to 20 minutes, suggesting Kinney was present between 2:30 to 2:40 p.m. She said she has provided the videos and information to both Kinney's family and law enforcement investigators. Ross also questions reports stating Kinney was last seen around 4 p.m., noting that her family returned to the marina between 4:30 p.m. and 4:45 p.m., where they observed members of the Kinney's group already speaking with fire and rescue personnel. Ross emphasized that she is not attempting to create speculation, but hopes the information will help investigators establish a more accurate timeline and narrow the search. So the person who was there that took these pictures and videos is basically saying that the group's timeline is not adding up to the pictures that she took. Authorities believe even seamlessly insignificant images or videos could assist in investigation in identifying her last confirmed location. Anyone with information on Kinney's disappearance is urged to call 911 immediately. And there's some tattoos, pictures of her. Once again, that's Cameron, who also got arrested. Or I should say is the person who got arrested. The rest of this that I'm about to tell you, as far as I know, has not been confirmed by police just because they have not released the identities of the people on the boat. Now, I did find some of the people who are on the boat. I did, but I'm not going to release them yet, all right? But I will say, some people are saying that, you got to remember, she was 19 years old. Now, one person, or I should say a couple reports are saying that one of their teachers or something was aboard the boat, who I guess is in their 40s, and then another 50-year-old was aboard the boat too. Now, that doesn't mean nothing. One of these people could have been somebody's parent. I have no clue, all right? Could have been. But that's what some people are saying. And if it is alcohol involved, who purchased that alcohol? Could have been the 40-year-old, the 50-year-old. Cameron's of age, but allegedly he was driving his own boat, I guess is what they're saying. Like I said, there's a lot of information that we just don't know because they're not telling us. Some people are looking at the friend side-eyed, as in, there's this many of you guys on this boat, 10 of you guys on this boat, and apparently several of you got off to use the bathroom and nobody realized she didn't come back yet. I'm going to show you this right here. Now, this is from the lady who actually took the picture of her. This is an aerial view from her phone, Grayson Lake right there. As you see, it's a lot of terrain. Now, here is a picture of them. This is her up here in the picture. And as you see, 2:19 p.m. Wednesday, June 24th. A lot of terrain. There's another picture right there. And you see a guy underneath right there as well. Here's a picture of what they're dealing with. As you see, look at all this terrain. Okay. And then that's the lake right there. So you do have a lot of terrain going on. But at the same time, so this right here looks like the Bruin launch ramp. You do have places to get off, you know, and explore. As you see here, looks like there's a campsite there. There's a golf course there. There's homes. So, I mean, there is, you know, places around here. Now, we don't know exactly where she could be at. Now, the next question would be, if they got off to use the bathroom, right? Was it a public restroom they were trying to use the bathroom at? Were they just trying to pee in the water? That is another question that I can't find. So if you guys know this, let me know, because I think that will play a major role. As an example, if there's some public restroom, then is it possible that she was still in the restroom and then they got in the boat and took off? But where would she go from the restroom? Did she not remember how to get back to the water? That part is hard to understand. Now, if they just jumped in the water to use the restroom, you know, the pee, I guess, then they drove off and left her in the water, that is a different scenario. Now, if they did drive off and leave her in the water, let's say they had to float around using the bathroom, I don't know. I did look it up. It says Grayson is actually 60 feet. So it can get up to 60 feet with an average depth that is shallower throughout its winding. It's a 74-mile shoreline. So it is a long shoreline and it can go to 60 feet. So if they're in an area to, of course, where she can't just stand up and they drive off and leave her and she is in the water, then yeah, I could see her running out of breath, getting tired, and unfortunately drowning. My question is how many people are around there? Was there other people in the boats? It's just so many questions going on with this. Now, the first thing is, of course, we have to find her. obviously, right? But it would help if we also knew what was going on to maybe find her. Because if it was foul play, let's say she got pushed off, not saying that's what happened, then obviously somebody's covering something up. Now, if it was an honest just, oh, we forgot, a mistake, she fell overboard, she went overboard, something happened, we kept going because we're partying and drinking, have a good time, then that's a whole different story too. But you guys let me know what you think below, all right? Comment any details you might have below that I don't know or that I missed out on. That will be wonderful for the next time I report on this, okay? So please comment below, especially if you heard of this and if you know anything about that. Please like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 members by, 30,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. And of course, join the membership because that helps supports the channel and it helps me go full time on this channel, okay? So just hit the like and subscribe and the notification bell. So until next time, please love one another, like one another. Look out at your surroundings, watch your surroundings. This is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.